Welcome back to part 2 of how to build a beer box. If you watched video 1 and you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I just want to thank you for that. In this video, we're going to turn the boxes we made in the last video into the beer boxes that we want them to be. We're going to start by cutting down a fresh beer box. You might remember in the last video we cut the front into 3 pieces. This time we're going to leave it whole for now. We're going to center and then trace the front part of the beer box onto the front part of the wooden crate we've already made. Now once we've done this, we're going to take a minute and we're going to go ahead and take a yellow crayon and highlight the inside of that tracing. It's just going to make it easier to see when we get to routing it. Now I'm going to go ahead and set my router for about 1/4 of an inch deep. Now you could go ahead and freehand router it like this and take your time to work your way around the edges, but I found an easier way after experimenting a little bit. So if you've been freehanding it, your edges are probably a little crooked, something like this. What I found though, is instead of freehanding it, you go ahead and you get yourself a straight board. You line that up and you tack that board down, and then you'll use that as a guide. Now if you know the distance from the blade on your router to the edge of your router, all you really have to do is measure over from the edge of your crate and line that board up even. Once you got that trim board where you want, all you have to do is tack it down. Now remember, the inside is going to be covered up, so it's not going to hurt to put a couple holes in there. Just stay away from the outside edges that are still going to be showing. Be sure to take a minute and double check and make sure that board is straight with your line before you start cutting. Now you see how much straighter that line is once that's all routed out using that board? Now, if you hadn't done the other edges, you just go ahead, unscrew that board, readjust it each time so your 4 outside edges are good and straight. Now once your outside edges are all good and straight, you're just going to use your router and clean out the inside. Take your time. Now once you get done routing that out, take your cardboard template and stick it in that hole. Make sure your edges are nice and square. Now then, if that all looks good, you're going to want to go ahead and repeat that same process on all 4 sides of your crate. Now once you got all 4 sides routed out, go ahead and take your palm sander and just sand the inside down a little bit. It's going to help that cardboard sit a little flatter when we get around to gluing it in there. Before you go too much further, you're going to want to figure out where your handles are going to be. The best way to do this is just to put your cardboard slices back in and trace around the edge. Leave yourself an extra 1/16 of an inch though, so when you glue these in, you're not going to be right on the edge. Now just go ahead and get them started with your drill and finish them off with your jigsaw. Now you're just going to cut your cardboard pieces to fit. I like to cut them about 1/8 inch short on each side, just so when I glue them down, there's a little wood exposed. They won't peel off so easy then. Now this part's sort of important. You're going to want to take the time to pull the corrugated part of the cardboard off the back so there's no air in there. It'll help your pieces glue down a lot flatter, a lot easier to work with too. Depending on the type of router bit you use, you may find that the corner edges are kind of rounded. If so, just go ahead and take your chisel out and chisel those out to be square to match your cardboard. Now it's just about time to get gluing these pieces down, so just take a second, make sure all your pieces fit in firmly, and that you can see a little wood around the edges. That way when you glue them down, they won't peel up so easy. Should look something like this. Now I tried a bunch of different glues. I even tried some sheetrock adhesive. I tried some wood glue. But what I found that works best is this stuff called Mod Podge. Now this stuff works just like glue. You just paint it on the back and you attach a cardboard to your wooden box. Once it's good and dry, you go ahead and you add a couple more layers right on top, and it'll seal that cardboard right to that box good and solid. Well, that's it. Once it dries, your box is done. Using the same principles, you might want to make a lid for it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe if you would.